There are so many ways in which I believe that the Creator has tested us, and I associate the real Creator as being something that is higher than the material-based Creator that may have, manipulated our genetics, basically, manipulated our sexuality, right? So I believe that the physical Creator of mankind may be a master manipulator, with the real Creator being above this world, which allowed us to fall into this world, to face the test. And so what is that test when it comes to our flesh? When it comes to, what we do with our bodies and who we do it with. So I've been on this planet this time around for 46 years, and from the experiences that I've had, I've come to certain levels of awareness. And there's times and periods where women might be attracted to certain men, but not for the right reason, and vice versa, right? But it seems to me to be a very clear truth that we were given powerful abilities to create life, to create children. And I believe that if a couple is, and the word that comes to mind isn't in love, but they're in a higher state of consciousness. If they are in a higher state of consciousness and they're coming together with intention to create a child who's going to do great things, or who's going to have, a higher form of consciousness, however you might define that, not just intelligence, but consciousness and spirituality, a deeper level of understanding of right versus wrong, and more likely an inclination that they will do right, rather than be, like a powerful baby who becomes a supervillain. We're talking about a baby growing up who wants to be a superhero. In the real sense, not the comic book sense, not a superhero who's co-opted to work for ICE, the military-industrial complex, but basically a baby who wants to go forward and create great things. Now, I don't know the real nature of my parents' consciousness when they were having sex, when they were dating. I know that they split up after I was born and really went on to hate each other. And seeing them for who they are, as humans that are manipulated by demons who hate their child in unique ways for their own reasons. I see human beings that are overshadowed because they created something that was good. Okay, that's actually against their masters, the demons that control them, the demons that they've served. So, the real reason they want to get rid of people like me in America is so that people like me don't have a spiritual impact, because people like me were made during powerful times in human history. There's not a lot of people like me, but I have unique genetics in which I'm able to, do my own deep dive into my DNA and bring forth a lot of information. So it's through that I'm also able to talk about these things combined with my experiences. That there are people that may come into our lives who have sex with us simply to drain us and to lead us towards sin and dirty sexual acts and dirty kinks, because we're not really supposed to do that. We're not really supposed to have a DP. We're not really supposed to go to the gangbang. We're not really supposed to bukkake that girl. We're not really supposed to share that girl and sandwich her. We're not really supposed to do those things. We're not really meant to slap the girl as hard as we want in that girl's face, even though she demands it, because, in this world, that's how she feels like she needs to get off. What we need to see is a revolution with female sexuality, to where they're actually able to be attracted to a good man, to where they're actually willing to try Kama Sutra, different sexual positions, to try to achieve that orgasm, rather than just defaulting to some barbarian or piece of shit. So the devil, or the owners of humanity, or the demiurge, they have manipulated the sex drive. That's probably why, they made it somewhat pleasurable to have anal sex, even though it's not supposed to happen, and it's supposed to be for exit only. there is some sort of like demonic portal connecting with people that are into all things anal. That also explains to us why we don't really see real anti-war, anti-racist activism from LGBTQ type individuals. We just don't. If they're involved, it's because, people that they know might be involved in some of those. You might see some of that at times or in certain years in Portland, but there's plenty of perverted LGBT people out there that hate people of color, that don't care that certain people are bombed. All they want to do is have some fun. I've got a feeling I'm not the only one. So just having orgasms, just having lollipops, just going, oh, 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 I'm a monkey. That's not spirituality. And that's not the type of energy that we need when we need masculine, intellectual people, also people that are, tapped into their own feminine nature. But we need people really physically, metaphorically, to stand in front of the tank and say, hell no, you're not going to keep killing these people. We're going to hold you accountable. So there's a reason why the churches, many of them, they'll go against their own book and they'll open up their doors to homosexuals. It makes them look all loving and inclusive when they're actually very paranoid in reality about people that are ethnic. So what we have right now is a breeding program of a whole lot of human beings in America that are basically breeding the monsters straight out of Lord of the Rings. They're basically born into a world where they're not being told by their mom and their dad, hey, you really shouldn't go overseas and be a fucking Nazi. They're told, hey, Merry Christmas, son. Here's Call of Duty. Merry Christmas, son. Here's a car. For being a piece of shit and being selfish and being a stupid jock, being a stupid cunt slut. Hey, congratulations, here's another cell phone. Once you get a dating app and find a 30-year-old boyfriend, hey. What we have are children having children, okay? And then for years I can see in spirit they were really dealing with a woman riding a man, and this white couple with their military attire, they are having sex. She's riding him, and they're having sex on a pyramid of dead Iraqi bodies. That's basically a metaphor for our society. Look at how many people in Antifa are friends with people in the military, right? They'll be friends with somebody in the military or someone who's trans just because they're trans before they're friends with somebody of my heritage. They are the other side of white supremacy. Portland Antifa in general, they are not victims, they are perpetuators of violence against people of color, Eli Ritchie being one of them. We are dealing with an evil system of white supremacy on both the left and the right. We are not dealing with people pushing back against human trafficking. We are not dealing with a kind society who loves everybody. We are dealing with a sick society that isolates people that are different and forces them to conform to the demands of the tribe, or be kicked off the island, to be kicked off social media, to be kicked out of society, to be unfollowed. That's actually what we're dealing with. And so obviously the solution is love. If women were genuine about being against human trafficking and or racism and or war, then they would be kind to the men that are speaking about these issues. They wouldn't treat them like they're nobody.